Welcome to Monk's Temple. Find a space where you can be comfortable, where the outside world can soften into a gentle hum, and allow your attention to turn inward, like a flower slowly turning its face toward the subtle light of dawn. We are about to embark on a long, quiet journey together, a journey not to a distant place, but into the very heart of your own experience. For the next while, we will walk through ancient gardens of wisdom, picking up tools not of steel, but of understanding, tools that have been polished by centuries of human seeking and finding. These are the teachings of the Buddha, not as historical artifacts, but as living, breathing guides for a fundamental human experience: fear. Fear is the cold draft under the door of a seemingly secure room. It is the tightening in the chest before speaking, the midnight thought that spirals into a vortex of what if. It convinces us we are standing on crumbling ground. But what if the ground was never solid to begin with, and our freedom lies in learning to dance on its shifting surface? The wisdom we explore today offers not a battle plan, but a profound shift in perception. It teaches us not to slay the dragon of fear, but to understand its nature so completely that it ceases to be a dragon at all. Let us begin our exploration not at the beginning of a list, but at the core of the human dilemma, our relationship with what we hold dear. I once knew a woman, a passionate gardener, who dedicated 5 years to cultivating a single, rare orchid. She controlled the humidity, the light, the precise nutrients. It was her masterpiece, her pride. When it finally produced a single, breathtaking bloom, she was ecstatic. Yet, her joy was haunted. She could not sleep, fearing a draft might wither it. She dreaded leaving the house, imagining a pestilence in her absence. Her entire world had contracted to the survival of this one perfect flower. The very thing she loved most had become the source of her deepest anxiety. This is where the Buddha's teaching on attachment, or tanha, shines a clarifying light. Tanha is often described as a thirst, a craving, a sticky desire that says, "This must remain. This must continue. This defines my happiness." We attach not just to objects, but to outcomes, to status, to people, to our own self-image. We believe these attachments are the roots that keep us stable. But the Buddha's profound insight reveals they are the very chains that bind us to suffering and fear. Fear is the visceral reaction when we feel those chains pull taut. When we perceive a threat to the object of our attachment. My friend was not afraid of a flower dying, she was afraid of the collapse of the world she had built around that flower, a world where her joy was held hostage by a fragile, temporary thing. The practice of non-attachment is the gentle, deliberate softening of that grip. It is not cold indifference. It is not saying, "I don't care about the orchid." It is saying, "I cherish this breathtaking bloom all the more because I know it is a fleeting miracle. My peace is not stored within its petals." It is learning to love the process of gardening itself, the tending, the patience, the learning, more than the demand for a specific, permanent result. When we practice this, fear loses its leverage. If your sense of security is not invested in the job title, the fear of losing it transforms from a terror into a manageable challenge. If your happiness is not contingent on a person behaving exactly as you wish, the fear of rejection loses its debilitating power. You begin to hold life with an open palm, not a white-knuckled fist, able to receive its gifts without the exhausting strain of trying to imprison them. This first teaching is the foundation. It asks us to examine what we are clinging to that is generating this background noise of fear. Is it an idea of how life should be? An expectation of another person? A story you tell about yourself? See if you can, just for a moment, introduce a sliver of space between you and that object of attachment. Imagine loosening your mental grip, just a little. Notice what happens in your body, in your breath. This is not an act of loss, but an initial taste of profound relief. It is the first step out of the self-constructed prison of fear. If this perspective, this first gentle inquiry into the source of your anxieties, feels like a door cracking open to a quieter room, I warmly invite you to subscribe to Monk's Temple. By joining, you allow us to continue this journey together, exploring these pathways to peace at a pace that respects the depth of the human heart. Your subscription is a signal, a shared intention to cultivate a freer, more spacious inner world. Now, let us move from the tightness of grasping to the quality of our attention itself. For fear often thrives not in what we are looking at, but in how we are looking. Let us continue. Now, bring your awareness to the stream of your thoughts. Not to stop them, but to notice their nature. See them as if you are sitting on the bank of a wide, slow-moving river, watching leaves float by on the current. Some leaves are pleasant memories, some are mundane plans. And some are dark, twisted shapes. The leaves of worry, of catastrophic imagination. We have a habit, you and I, of seeing a dark leaf and leaping into the river after it. We clutch it, we analyze its terrifying shape, we get soaked and pulled by the current, convinced the leaf itself is a threat. We become the leaf. But what if you could stay on the bank? What if you could simply note, a fearful thought, and let it continue its journey downstream? This is the essence of the Buddha's teaching on mindfulness, or sati. It is not about emptying the river. It is about cultivating the bank, the steady, observant presence that can witness the flow without being swept away. Fear is a master of hijacking our attention. It pulls us out of the present, into a fabricated future of disaster, or back into a past of regret. Mindfulness is the gentle, unshakable return to the reality of this moment. The feel of your breath. The weight of your body. The sound underlying the silence. Fear cannot breathe in the airtight present. It needs the oxygen of past and future to fuel its flames. Imagine an old stone watchtower on a cliff, facing a stormy sea. For years, the keeper of the tower believed his job was to control the sea. He would shout at the waves to be calmer, despair at the clouds, feel personally responsible for every ship that struggled. He was perpetually exhausted, terrified, and drenched by the spray. One day, a new understanding dawned. His task was not to control the ocean. His task was simply to keep the watchtower. To keep the windows clean, the light lit, and to witness the sea in all its moods, the fury, the calm, the fog, the glittering noon, with steady, compassionate attention. The storms did not cease, but his suffering did. He was no longer in the storm, he was the safe, dry space observing the storm. Your mind is that sea. Your fearful thoughts are the storms. Mindfulness is the practice of building and inhabiting your inner watchtower. When the gale of anxiety blows, you feel its force, but you are not lost at sea. You can feel the fear in your body, the tightness, the quick pulse, and simply note, storm. You can hear the howling thoughts of catastrophe and think, wind. From the watchtower, you have a perspective. You see the storm as a passing weather system within the vastness of your awareness, not as the totality of your being. This space, this observation, is where your freedom is born. It is where you realize, I am not the fear. I am the awareness that is aware of the fear. And in that realization, the fear's power begins to dissolve, not because you fought it, but because you stopped confusing yourself with it. This practice is a slow, patient training. You will forget, and leap into the river 1,000 times. The invitation is simply to notice you are wet, and climb back onto the bank. To remember the watchtower exists. Each return is a victory. Each mindful breath is a brick laid in its foundation. We are cultivating not a momentary calm, but an unshakable inner refuge. Now, from the steady vantage of the watchtower, we can look out and see a deeper pattern in the landscape of our lives. A pattern not of random threats, but of a universal condition. In a forgotten corner of an antique shop, I once found a beautiful, ancient vase. It was exquisite, but it had a crack. A fine, hairline fracture running from its rim to its base. The shopkeeper did not hide it. He pointed to it and said, "See this? In my country, they sometimes fill such cracks with gold lacquer. They believe the flaw is part of the object's history, its journey. It makes it more unique, more valuable. It is called kintsugi." He paused. The vase is not broken. It is simply revealing how it has survived. The Buddha's first noble truth points directly at this crack. He called it dukkha. It is often translated as suffering, but it is more like this intrinsic fragility, this potential for stress, this unavoidable flaw in the porcelain of existence. Life, by its very nature, includes friction, loss, sickness, aging, not getting what we want, getting what we don't want. And fear is one of the primary sensations of that friction. We often treat our own dukkha, our anxiety, our sadness, our fear, as a personal failing, a vase that is broken and must be hidden. We feel ashamed of our cracks. We think, why am I so afraid when others seem so brave? This shame is a second layer of suffering, a prison of isolation. The revolutionary teaching here is that dukkha is universal. The crack is in every vase. Every single human being experiences this friction of fear, loss, and uncertainty. The content differs: fear of poverty, fear of loneliness, fear of insignificance, but the experience of the tremor is shared by all. When you deeply understand this, a profound compassion arises. Your fear is not a sign that you are uniquely broken. It is a sign that you are alive and sensitive in a world of change. It is your kintsugi crack, the evidence of your journey. This understanding is a deep, soothing balm. It removes the isolating poison of, "Why me?" and replaces it with the connective truth of, this too is part of being human. You are not alone in your watchtower. Looking out, you see a coastline of other watchtowers, other lights, other beings witnessing their own storms. Your private terror becomes part of the shared, courageous human project of facing the inevitable seas of life. This doesn't make the fear disappear, but it strips it of its personal stigma. You can hold your anxious heart with the same kindness you would offer a frightened friend. You can say to yourself, "This is the human ache. It's okay. It's allowed." And in that allowance, in that embrace of the flawed and beautiful whole, the fear often softens, its sharp edges rounded by the gold of compassion. We have begun to loosen our grip through non-attachment. We have found a place of observation through mindfulness. We have recognized our shared humanity through understanding suffering. Now, let us look more closely at the very fabric of the world we are so often afraid of losing. Now, direct your attention gently outward, beyond the walls of your watchtower, to the world itself. Observe the sky, if you can see it, or imagine it. It is never the same. At dawn, it is a wash of pastel watercolors. By noon, a vast, blank blue canvas. In the evening, it becomes a furnace of reds and purples, and by night, a deep velvet studded with distant fires. It does not cling to any one state. It does not mourn the loss of the sunrise, nor fear the coming of the dark. It simply is, in its endless becoming. This is the nature of all things. The Buddha named this truth anicca, impermanence. It is not a philosophical idea, it is the most fundamental law of existence, as basic as gravity. Everything that arises will cease. Every condition will change. The flower blooms and wilts. The mountain rises and erodes. The feeling of joy yields to calm, the pain of grief softens into memory. Even our very cells are in a constant state of death and rebirth. Our fear, in so many of its forms, is a rebellion against this law. It is a child's tantrum against the setting sun. We fear loss because we believe what we have should be permanent. We fear change because we mistake the current chapter for the entire book. We fear the future because we cannot freeze the present. We build our lives on the desperate, exhausting hope that the river will stop flowing. But the river knows only flow. I witnessed this once in a powerful, silent ceremony. Monks spent weeks painstakingly creating an intricate, breathtaking mandala from millions of grains of colored sand. It was a universe in miniature, a geometric cosmos of stunning detail and beauty. Crowds gathered to admire it, to marvel at its perfection. Then, on the final day, in a ritual that was both solemn and joyous, the monks took brushes and swept the entire magnificent creation into a pile of indistinguishable dust. They poured the sand into a flowing river, offering it back to the world. There was no sadness, only a deep, peaceful acknowledgement. The beauty was not in the preservation of the form, but in the devotion of its creation and the wisdom of its release. The mandala was a lesson in anicca made visible. When we internalize this truth, something in us relaxes. The tight fist of fear begins to unclench. If everything is temporary, then so is this. This wave of anxiety, this period of lack, this season of sorrow. It, too, shall pass. And so shall that, this moment of triumph, this feeling of security, this experience of bliss. That is not a cause for despair, but for a profound and poignant appreciation. Knowing the bloom will fall makes you cherish its fragrance more deeply. Knowing the visit will end makes you listen to your friend's laughter more intently. It teaches you to drink deeply from the well of now, because now is the only place where life is actually happening. This understanding is the ultimate antidote to the fear of the unknown. The unknown is simply the next change, the next unfolding of the mandala. You cannot control the pattern, but you can learn to appreciate the artistry of the process itself. When you are in the midst of hardship, you can remember, this is a pattern of dark sand. It is part of the design, but it is not the final design. The brush will eventually sweep this, too, into the river, and something new will be laid down. This is not passive resignation, it is active trust in the fundamental process of life. It allows you to meet change not as an enemy, but as the very nature of your ally, existence itself. Now, with this understanding of life's flowing nature, we can examine the specific stories that fear tells us. For fear is not just a reaction to change. It is a masterful, persuasive storyteller. Imagine you are sitting alone in a vast, empty movie theater. The screen is dark. Suddenly, a film begins to play, a horror film, starring you. It shows all your worst fears coming true: failure, humiliation, loss, isolation. The images are vivid, the sound design is terrifying. Your heart races. Your palms sweat. You are completely absorbed in the narrative of disaster. Now, imagine a small, gentle light comes on at the back of the theater. You turn and see there is no projector. There is only a solitary figure in the director's chair, feverishly sketching each frame by hand and holding it up to a lamp. That director is your own thought process, and the lamp is your belief. The entire terrifying movie is being generated in real time, by you, for you. This is the Buddhist teaching on the illusion of fear. So much of our fear is Maya, a phantom, a mental fabrication. We are not reacting to a present moment reality. We are reacting to a vividly imagined, and wholly fictional, future reality. The thought, "What if I fail?" creates a full sensory experience of failure now. The body reacts as if it is real. We feel the shame, see the disapproving faces, hear the critical words. But it is all a movie. The screen is blank. The theater is empty. The only thing happening is a thought, and our profound belief in that thought. The practice is to find that small light of awareness. To turn around in the theater and see the director. To notice the thought as it is being drawn. Ah, you can say, here is the catastrophic failure story. My director is very creative today. This simple act of recognition, seeing the fear as a mental event, not as a truth, breaks the spell. The movie may continue to play for a while, but you are no longer a captive audience. You are a critic, noting, the plot is highly unrealistic. The special effects are cheap. The fear, when seen as a product of your own mind, loses its substantiality. It becomes a cloud passing through the sky of your awareness, not the sky itself. You are not the character in the horror film. You are the awareness sitting in the theater, who has just remembered it can get up, walk out into the lobby, and feel the sun on its face. The real world, the world of the present breath, the chirping bird, the feeling of the chair, is waiting, peaceful and unchanged by the drama on the screen. Your power lies in your choice of where to place your attention. Fear insists the movie is all there is. Wisdom knows it is just one channel, and you hold the remote. We have seen how fear is woven from attachment, amplified by unmindfulness, shared in our common humanity, rooted in resistance to change, and sustained by our own imagination. Now, let us cultivate the one quality that can hold all of this with grace. A deep, abiding patience. Let us continue. Now, bring to mind a seed. A simple seed, perhaps from an oak tree. It holds within its hard shell the potential for a mighty giant, for decades of shade, for generations of acorns. But it does not become this in a day. It requires the patient, unseen work of darkness, of moisture, of splitting its own shell. It must send a tender root downward, into the unknown soil, before it can even think of pushing a shoot toward the sun. It cannot rush. It cannot decide to be a sapling on Tuesday and a full tree by Friday. Its entire being is an expression of a deep, innate patience. In the Buddhist teachings, this virtue is called khanti. It is not passive waiting, it is an active, resilient endurance, the strength to be with the process without forcing the outcome. We live in a world that worships speed. We want quick fixes, instant answers, and immediate relief. Fear is the child of this impatience. Fear says, I must know now if I am safe. I must resolve this uncertainty immediately. I must escape this discomfort right this second. Our intolerance for not knowing, for waiting, for being in the messy middle of things, is the fertile ground where anxiety takes root. We try to pry open the seed, killing the very life inside. The Buddha taught that this impatient craving is a source of dukkha, and that khanti is its direct antidote. It is the wisdom to cooperate with time. I spent a summer once, trying to learn to throw pots on a wheel. My early attempts were disasters, collapsing, lopsided, torn clay. My frustration was immense. I wanted to make a perfect vase now. My teacher, an elderly woman with clay permanently under her fingernails, would watch me struggle. Finally, she said, "You are fighting the clay. You are trying to make it do what you want. You must listen to it. Feel its readiness. Your hands must be both firm and yielding. The clay and the wheel have a rhythm. You must find your patience and join it." She placed her hands over mine. Together, we centered the lump of clay. It was a meditation. I felt the subtle vibration, the point of balance. We raised the walls slowly, a millimeter at a time, constantly adjusting to the tension. It took what felt like an eternity. But from that slowness, that attentive patience, a simple, graceful cylinder emerged. It was not a masterpiece, but it was true. It was a collaboration with time. Your fear is like that uncentered clay on the wheel, a wobbly, chaotic mass of sensation and thought. Your impatience is the frantic, forcing hands that only make it worse, that cause the whole form to collapse. Patience is the teacher's steadying touch. It is the willingness to be with the wobble, to feel the imbalance, to apply a gentle, consistent pressure without the demand for it to be perfect now. It is trusting that centering takes as long as it takes. When a wave of panic rises, patience does not say, "Stop this instantly." It says, "I am here. I can breathe with this. I can let this peak, and crest, and fall, at its own pace." You become the steady will, not the frantic hands. This practice of khanti extends to the largest arcs of our lives. The fear that you are not where you should be, that healing is taking too long, that understanding is not arriving fast enough, all of this is soothed by patient endurance. The oak tree does not lament being a sapling. It simply gathers sun and rain, season after season. Your growth, your healing, your understanding of these very teachings, operates on a sacred timeline that cannot be hurried. Patience is the deep trust that you are unfolding exactly as you need to. It is the courage to be incomplete, to be in process, and to find a strange peace right there in the unfolding. With the grounding of patience, we can return to a teaching we touched upon earlier and explore it from a new, essential angle, the nature of the self that is so afraid. For fear always implies a me that is under threat. Picture a clear, still mountain lake at dawn. Its surface is a perfect mirror, reflecting the sky, the trees, the surrounding peaks. Now, throw a stone into its center. The reflection shatters into 1,000 chaotic ripples. The image of the mountain is distorted, broken into fragments. We are like that lake. Our true nature is this vast, deep, still awareness, capacious, clear, and fundamentally peaceful. Our thoughts, emotions, and sensations, including fear, are like stones thrown into the water. They create ripples on the surface. The problem, the source of our suffering, is that we become hypnotized by the ripples. We forget we are the lake and believe we are the shattered, chaotic reflection. We think, I am afraid, identifying the entire being with the temporary surface disturbance. The Buddha's profound teaching of anatta, or non-self, points to this mistake. It is not a nihilistic denial of personality, but a liberating insight into its nature. There is no fixed, solid, permanent self to be found in the ripples, in the body, which changes, in feelings, which come and go, in perceptions, thoughts, or consciousness, all in constant flux. The feeling of a continuous me is a story the mind tells, a narrative woven from memories and hopes, likes and dislikes. Fear is the ultimate guardian of this story. It screams, protect me. This is happening to me. But if you look deeply, who is this me? Is it the tightness in your chest? That will pass. Is it the thought, I am in danger? That, too, will change. The more you search for a solid, fearful self at the center of the experience, the more you find only more changing phenomena. More ripples. The freedom comes when you stop identifying with the reflection and remember you are the lake. The ripples of fear arise and play out on your surface, but they cannot, disturb your depths. You can rest in the deep, still water beneath the stormy surface. You can observe the fear ripples with curiosity, look at that interesting pattern of contraction. Notice how the thought ripples interact with the sensation ripples. From this perspective, fear is not a personal catastrophe, it is an impersonal weather event happening in the space of awareness. This is the ultimate application of mindfulness and the fruit of all the other teachings. You are not eliminating fear, you are changing your relationship to it so completely that it becomes just another passing show on the surface of your vast, silent being. This understanding can feel abstract, but it is the key to the final lock. It turns the problem inside out. The question ceases to be, how do I get rid of my fear, and becomes, what is it in me that is aware of this fear? And in that inquiry, you find the still lake, the silent watchtower, the open palm, the fearless heart that was there all along. Now, let us weave these threads together with a story that encompasses this entire journey of understanding. Let us continue. Now, imagine a master weaver at her loom. Before her is not a single, solid-colored thread, but a basket filled with spools of every hue, the deep blue of mindfulness, the gold of patience, the shifting gray of impermanence, the transparent thread of non-attachment, the dark, strong fiber of shared suffering, and the luminous, silvery strand that sees illusion. Her work is not to create a picture of a perfect, fear-free life. That would be another illusion. Instead, she weaves a tapestry of understanding. The dark threads of fear are not excluded, they are integrated. They provide contrast, depth, and texture. They become part of the beautiful, complex, and resilient whole. This weaving is the integration of the Buddha's path. It is not about arriving at a destination called fearlessness, but about learning to incorporate the experience of fear into a wiser, more compassionate relationship with life itself. There is a story of a small village separated from the main town by a wide, dark river. The only way across at night was an old ferry, piloted by a silent, weathered man. The crossing was notorious. The river was swift, the currents hidden, and the far shore was invisible in the blackness. People would board the ferry trembling, clutching the rails, consumed by visions of capsizing, of being swept away into the unknown. The ferryman never offered comfort or promises. He simply took his pole and pushed off. One night, a young man, paralyzed with terror, cried out, "How can you be so calm? Don't you see the danger? Don't you fear the dark water?" The ferryman kept his eyes on the void ahead and spoke for the first time anyone had heard. "I do not fear the river," he said. "I know its sounds. The gurgle there means a shallow shelf. The sighing ripple there means a deep, smooth channel. The dark is not my enemy, it is the condition of the crossing. My fear would not make the water more gentle or the shore appear sooner. It would only make my hands shake on the pole. So I listen. I feel the current through the hull. I work with the river, not against it. And always, eventually, the other shore emerges from the dark. This ferryman embodies the woven path. He has non-attachment to a quick, easy crossing. He employs profound mindfulness, listening to the sounds of the river, feeling the current. His attention fully in the present moment reality of the journey, not the imagined catastrophe. He accepts the impermanence of the crossing, it will end. He understands the universal suffering of fear, all his passengers feel it, it is part of the human journey on this particular night river. He sees the illusion, the monsters are shapes imagined in the dark, not real threats in the water. And he exercises immense patience, the crossing takes as long as it takes. He does not fight the current to hurry. He is not fearless because the river is safe. He is fearless because he knows the river, and he knows himself within it. Your life is that night crossing. Your fears are the dark water and the imagined monsters. The teachings are the skills of the ferryman, not to drain the river, but to learn to navigate it with steady hands and a calm heart. Now, let us deepen our journey with new stories, exploring how these teachings manifest not as grand philosophies, but in the quiet, gritty details of a human life. I lived for a time in an old house with a backyard gate secured by a heavy, rusted padlock. It was stubborn and required a precise, firm jiggle of the key to open. One autumn evening, returning after dark, I couldn't get it to budge. Frustration turned to a prickling fear. I was locked out. The night was getting colder. My mind raced, I'd have to break a window, call a costly locksmith, sleep on the porch. The fear was a physical knot in my stomach. I was attached to getting inside, now. I was lost in the future story of discomfort and expense. Then, I remembered to pause. I stepped back from the gate. I took 3 deep breaths, feeling the cold air in my lungs, seeing my own faint plume in the moonlight, mindfulness. I acknowledged the fear, the impatience, the childish urge to kick the gate, seeing the illusion of the story that this was a major disaster. I thought of all the people who had ever been momentarily locked out, a shared, minor human annoyance, understanding dukkha. I accepted that my plan for a warm, immediate entry was not happening, and that was okay, non-attachment, patience. I knew this situation was temporary, I would solve it, impermanence. Calmer, I examined the lock in the moonlight. I saw not a malicious obstacle, but a simple, rusty mechanism. I took out my penknife and scraped at the keyhole, dislodging a small plug of rust and a curled, dead leaf. I tried the key again, with a slower, more attentive touch. It clicked. The lock opened. The entire emotional storm, from frantic fear to relieved calm, had lasted less than 5 minutes. It was a perfect, small-scale lesson. The fear was real, but it was not truthful. The solution was not in fighting the lock, but in changing my relationship to the problem. The peace was not in the open gate, but in the mind that had steadied itself enough to see the leaf in the keyhole. A composer friend once shared a piece of music with me. It was haunting, beautiful, but it ended abruptly in the middle of a phrase. "It's not finished," I said. "Oh, it is," he replied. "I call it the unfinished symphony. Its beauty, for me, is in its incompleteness. It invites the listener into the silence that follows. It acknowledges that not everything needs a resolution. Some things are meant to be open-ended, to leave a question hanging in the air." He had composed a piece that embodied anicca and non-attachment. It did not cling to a final, resolving chord. It trusted the silence. We treat our lives like symphonies we believe must end with a triumphant, major key resolution. We fear the unresolved chord, the lingering question. We think a life without a clear, happy ending is a failure. But what if your life, like this music, is beautiful precisely in its unfinished, open-ended nature? What if the fear of not having it all figured out, or wrapped up, is just another form of clinging to a fixed idea? Can you allow your story to have loose ends? Can you find a strange peace in the middle of the phrase, trusting that the silence that follows is not emptiness, but spaciousness? This is the peace beyond fear. The peace that comes from no longer demanding a particular ending from life. On a summer night, with only a desk lamp for light, I watched a moth. It was frantic, battering itself again and again against the hot glass of the lampshade, drawn by the illusion of the moon contained within. It was a perfect portrait of tanha, craving, attachment to the source of perceived fulfillment, leading to exhaustion and pain. I opened the window wide, revealing the vast, dark sky and the actual, distant moon. I turned off the lamp. The room went dark. The moth ceased its frantic dance. After a moment of stillness, it fluttered toward the open window and disappeared into the generous night, oriented toward the true, distant light. Our fears often operate like that lamp. We are attached to a small, close, burning idea of security, of success, of love, a searing, contained light that burns us when we cling to it. We batter ourselves against the barriers to achieving it. The Buddha's wisdom is like opening the window and turning off the lamp. It reveals a vaster reality. It asks us to release our attachment to the small, painful, immediate light and orient ourselves toward a larger truth, the truth of impermanence, of interconnectedness, of the open sky of awareness. The fear doesn't necessarily vanish, but its context changes entirely. You are no longer a moth trapped in a room with a single, burning goal. You are a creature of the night sky, free to move in a space too large for panic. These stories are mirrors. See what reflects back to you. Now, let us turn to the cultivation of the heart's direct response to fear, compassion. Now, bring your attention to the center of your chest. To the space where fear often lands as a cold, hard stone. Imagine you could breathe into that space, not to dissolve the stone, but to warm it with the steady, gentle heat of kindness. This is the cultivation of karuna, or compassion. Often, we meet our own fear with aggression. We hate it. We judge ourselves for feeling it. Stop being so weak, we hiss. This inner war is where fear gains its secondary strength. The Buddha's path reveals that the antidote to fear is not a stronger opposite force, but a radical, tender acceptance. Compassion is the fearless heart turning toward its own trembling. Imagine walking in a forest and finding a small, wild animal, a fox kit, perhaps, cornered and injured. It is terrified. It bares its teeth, its whole body a coil of defensive panic. If you approach with loud noises, sudden movements, or attempts to forcefully grab it, its terror will escalate. It might even injure itself further trying to escape. But if you approach slowly, speak in soft tones, sit at a distance, and offer quiet presence, something can shift. The animal may still be afraid, but it senses the absence of threat. It may eventually allow help. Your own fearful heart is that wounded animal. When you shout at it with internal criticism, "Don't be stupid. Get over it," you only terrify it more. Compassion is the practice of sitting quietly with your own fear. It is saying, internally, this is fear. It hurts. It's okay. I am here with you. You offer your own presence as a sanctuary to the frightened part of yourself. In that atmosphere of non-judgmental allowance, the fear, like the animal, can begin to uncoil. It may not disappear, but it stops fighting you. And in that ceasefire, healing becomes possible. This compassionate response is the practical application of understanding dukkha. When you know suffering is universal, your own fear becomes less of a personal stain and more of a wound to be tended. You become your own first responder, applying the balm of kindness instead of the salt of contempt. This is a profound shift in identity. You are no longer identified as the fear, the wounded animal, nor as the fearful animal's angry critic. You become the compassionate caretaker who can hold the whole situation. This space of compassionate holding is where fear transforms. It may not vanish, but it is integrated, heard, and ultimately, soothed. Now, let us consider a story that blends compassion with the deep insight of impermanence, showing how our relationship to memory and anticipation fuels fear. Imagine your mind is a vast library. But this library has a peculiar rule. The only books allowed on the main reading tables are either detailed, embellished records of past misfortunes or vividly imagined, speculative volumes titled Everything That Could Go Wrong Tomorrow. The present moment is just a small, often ignored pamphlet on a side cart. You spend your days poring over the painful past and the terrifying future, feeling the dread described in those pages as if it is happening now. This is the architecture of chronic anxiety. The Buddha's teaching on right mindfulness and right view invites us to be the librarian who changes the rules. Compassion is the motivation. You gently close the heavy, dusty tome of last year's humiliation. You take the garish, fictional disaster novel off the table. You turn your attention, with kindness, to the simple pamphlet of the present. It may not seem as dramatic. Its text is simple: the breath is flowing in. The breath is flowing out. A bird is singing. The chair is solid. But in this simple text is profound peace. You are not denying the other books exist. You are just choosing, moment by compassionate moment, not to read them right now. This is how we defuse the time travel that fear depends on. We anchor the compassionate attention in the safety of now, where the body is usually okay, and the next right action is always clear. I was hiking once in a dense, high mountain fog. The path vanished just feet ahead. Every sound was muffled, every landmark erased. A familiar, primal fear arose, the fear of being lost, of stepping off an edge. My mind wanted to race ahead, to imagine the cliff, the storm, the nightfall. Then, I remembered the small lantern I carried. I lit it. It did not dispel the fog. It could not show me the summit or the valley. All it did was illuminate a perfect, small circle of the path directly at my feet. The next step. And in that illuminated circle was a stone, a root, a patch of moss, enough information to take that one step safely. I realized I did not need to see the whole journey. I only needed to see the next footfall. The fog was impermanence and uncertainty. The racing mind was the illusion of disaster. The lantern was mindfulness guided by compassion, a gentle, focused light on the immediate experience. Step by illuminated step, I moved through the unknown. The fear didn't leave, it became irrelevant. My attention was occupied by the practical, present moment task of walking. The path eventually descended below the fog line, and the world reappeared. The lesson was indelible. You cannot clear the fog of life's uncertainties, but you can always light the lantern of compassionate present moment awareness. Your next right step is always illuminated, if you look down, not ahead into the fearful murk. This practice of compassionate, step-by-step presence directly counters the overwhelming, global nature of fear. Fear says, your whole future is threatened. Compassionate mindfulness replies, just this step. Just this breath. That is all you have to do, and it is doable. It breaks the monolithic problem of existence into manageable, present moment tasks. And in doing so, it builds a quiet, unshakable confidence. Now, we turn to a subtle but powerful teaching that helps loosen fear's grip by examining what we believe we need to be happy. Think of a time you had to carry a heavy backpack on a long walk. At first, it's manageable. But with each mile, the straps dig deeper, the weight grinds down. You begin to fantasize about what you could leave behind. That extra book. Those heavy tools you might need. The fear of being without these things initially kept you packing them. But the pain of carrying them becomes greater than the fear of lacking them. The Buddha's teaching on the middle way and non-attachment is like finally stopping on the trail, opening the pack, and ruthlessly asking of each item, is this essential for the journey right now? Does carrying it cause more suffering than the prospect of leaving it? We carry so many mental and emotional items out of fear, outdated identities, resentments, the need for others' approval, fantasies of perfect outcomes. We fear that without these things, we won't be safe, loved, or valid. But their weight is our constant anxiety. Compassion allows us to sit with the fear of letting go. What if I am not the successful one anymore? What if I stop pleasing that person? We feel that fear, acknowledge it with kindness, and then, with clear seeing, we might decide to set that particular weight down. The relief is immediate. The journey becomes lighter. This is not a one-time event, but a continuous process of editing the contents of our mind. Each item released. Each attachment laid down, lightens the load fear has to work with. Your stride becomes freer, your heart less burdened. You discover you needed far less than you thought to be safe, to be happy, to be yourself. Let these images settle: the wounded animal, the library, the lantern, the backpack. They are not mere metaphors, they are maps for internal action. The next part of our journey will explore how to apply this compassionate understanding when fear arrives not as a whisper, but as a tempest. Let us continue. Now, imagine a vast, still forest pool after a quake. The tremors have passed, but the water's surface is a chaos of intersecting ripples, reflections shattered, clarity gone. This is the mind in the immediate aftermath of fear's tremor. Our instinct is to thrash, to try to smooth the water with our hands, which only creates more disturbance. The Buddha's wisdom offers a different instruction: become still. Let the ripples move through. Let them expend their energy against the unwavering shore of your awareness. Do not add the ripple of panic to the ripples of sensation. This is the practice of equanimity, or upekkha. It is the balanced heart, the mind that remains undisturbed because it understands the nature of disturbance. Picture a great, ancient tree in a storm. High in its branches, there is wild movement. Leaves thrash, twigs snap, limbs groan. It looks like agony, like chaos. But descend down the massive trunk, past the swirling wind, to where the roots grip the earth. Down here, there is profound stillness. The storm is happening, but it is a surface event. The tree's stability does not come from resisting the wind, but from its deep, silent connection to the ground. Your awareness is that root system. Your thoughts and feelings are the thrashing branches. Fear is a powerful storm. Equanimity is the practice of descending from the chaotic branches of identification into the rooted stillness of your being. It is not feeling nothing. It is feeling the storm fully while knowing you are not the storm, you are the tree that contains it. From this rooted place, you can witness the fear without being uprooted by it. You can say, "This is a powerful weather pattern in the organism of me." The balance comes from knowing the storm, by its nature, is temporary, and your roots, by their nature, are deep. This equanimity is the fruit of all the previous practices. Non-attachment keeps you from clinging to the pre-storm calm. Mindfulness lets you feel the first drops of rain on the leaves. Understanding dukkha reminds you all trees face storms. Seeing illusion shows you the storm is not personal. Patience allows the storm its duration. Compassion offers kindness to the trembling leaves. And equanimity is the final, deep knowing that you are rooted in something that cannot be blown away. Now, let us explore a story that embodies this deep-rootedness in the face of a very human, pervasive fear, the fear of irrelevance, of being forgotten. I spent a childhood summer by a swift, cold river. My brother and I would inscribe our names on smooth stones and place them prominently on the bank, a declaration of our presence. After a winter of floods, I returned. Our stones were gone. The bank was reshaped. I felt a sharp pang, a small, personal fear of erasure. Then I waded into the water. The current was strong over my feet. I looked down, and there, on the riverbed, were thousands of stones. They were tumbled smooth, arranged in beautiful, random patterns by the relentless flow. Some were faintly marked with traces of minerals that looked like ancient script. They had no individual names, but they were integral to the river's song, to its very nature. They provided the bed over which the water danced. I realized our named stones on the bank were an attempt to resist the river's flow, to assert a separate, permanent self against Anicca. But the true stones, the ones that belonged, were anonymous in the flow, essential because they were part of the process, not separate from it. The fear of being forgotten, of not mattering, often stems from this attachment to being a named stone on the bank. The Buddha's teaching of anatta, non-self, invites us to be the riverbed stone. Our value is not in a separate, permanent name, but in our participation in the flow of life. We are part of the pattern, the process, the song. When we release the craving for a separate, memorable identity, the fear of oblivion dissolves. We find a profound peace in simply being part of the beautiful, anonymous, necessary whole. This understanding transforms the fear of death, of failure, of insignificance. It is not about becoming nothing, but about realizing you were never a separate thing to begin with. You are a temporary, precious expression of the flowing universe, unique as a wave in the ocean, and just as much the ocean itself. From this view, there is nothing to protect, and therefore, nothing to fear. Let us now bring these teachings into the realm of daily action. For wisdom must be lived, or it is just poetry. There is a simple Zen practice called samu, or work practice. It often involves tasks like sweeping leaves, raking gravel, washing dishes, with total, mindful attention. I learned its power during a period of intense worry. My mind was a tangled knot of financial fears. A teacher gave me a broom and pointed to a large courtyard covered in dry leaves. "Sweep," he said. "Just sweep. Feel the broom. Hear the bristles. See the pattern of the clean stone." I began, frustrated, my mind still churning. But slowly, the rhythm took over. The swish thump of gathering leaves. The feel of the wooden handle. The satisfaction of a clean, swept line appearing. For 20 minutes, there was no financial problem. There was only the broom, the leaves, the stone. The fear was still in the periphery, but it was quiet, like a radio turned down low. In the space created by that simple, focused action, a clarity emerged. The problem was still there, but I was different. I was no longer knotted up inside it. I was someone who could sweep a courtyard clean. From that grounded, capable place, the solutions I later found were practical and calm. This is the teaching of right action and right livelihood meeting fear. Fear often paralyzes us into inaction or frantic, unskillful action. Mindful, simple, present moment action breaks the paralysis. It reestablishes your agency in a world you can affect, this floor, this dish, this breath. It proves to you, viscerally, that you are not helpless. You are someone who can sweep, who can breathe, who can take one clear step. This reclaimed sense of agency is a direct antidote to the helplessness that fear sells. Two sculptors were given blocks of flawed marble. The first sculptor looked at his block, saw a deep crack, and despaired. Fear of failure took over. He made timid, tentative strokes, working around the flaw, trying to hide it. The result was stiff, lifeless, and the crack still showed. The second sculptor sat with his flawed block for a long time. He observed the crack, its path, its depth. He did not see it as a mistake to hide, but as a feature to incorporate. He let the crack become the parted lips of his figure, a river in a landscape, a fold in a garment. He worked with the flaw, not against it. His statue was dynamic, full of movement, and the flaw was its most interesting part. Our personalities, our pasts, our tendencies, including our propensity for fear, are our flawed marble. We can spend our lives in fear of our own flaws, trying to hide them, working timidly around them. Or, we can practice right view and right intention. We can sit with our nature, observe it with compassionate curiosity, and then creatively integrate it. Your anxiety can become the source of your empathy. Your past pain can become the depth of your compassion. Your fear of failure can become the fuel for meticulous preparation. The flaw is not the enemy, your relationship to it is. When you stop fearing your own nature, you can begin to sculpt a life that is authentically, powerfully your own. Let these practices of equanimity, selfless participation, mindful action, and creative integration settle into your understanding. They are the tools for building a life that is not free from fear, but free within it. Let us conclude. We have journeyed through landscapes of the mind, across rivers of feeling, and into the quiet depths of awareness. We have gathered tools not of force, but of gentle understanding. The open palm of non-attachment, the steady light of mindfulness, the shared warmth of common suffering, the flowing acceptance of impermanence, the clear-eyed recognition of illusion, the enduring strength of patience, the kind embrace of compassion, the unshakable balance of equanimity, and the creative integration of all that we are. These are not separate keys for separate locks. They are facets of a single, brilliant gem of wisdom, the wisdom of the Buddha, a map of the human heart. This map does not lead to a distant paradise where fear is banished. It leads you home, to the very ground of your being, where you discover that what you are is vast enough to hold fear without being confined by it. Imagine a sky so endless that even the darkest storm cloud is seen for what it is, a passing weather pattern, temporary, insubstantial against the boundless blue. You are that sky. Fear is the cloud. You are not the cloud. You are the space in which the cloud appears, exists, and dissolves. Your practice, for the rest of your days, is simply to remember the sky. When fear thickens and the clouds gather, obscuring the sun, you do not need to fight the weather. You do not need to become a better, sunnier cloud. You need only to shift your identity, again and again, from the cloud to the sky. This shift is not a grand, permanent achievement. It is a gentle, moment-by-moment returning. It is the breath that anchors you in the present. It is the pause between the fearful thought and the reactive deed. It is the soft internal whisper, "This is a storm. I am the space for the storm." In that whisper lies your freedom. In the heart of Monk's Temple, there is a simple altar. Upon it sits an unlit candle. For years, I misunderstood its purpose. I thought it symbolized a light waiting to be kindled, a potential for future enlightenment. One evening, as dusk fell and the last of the daylight faded from the windows, the room was plunged into a deep, velvet darkness. I could not see the candle at all. But in that perfect dark, my other senses came alive. I heard the settling of ancient wood. I felt the cool, still air on my skin. I sensed the vast, quiet presence of the space itself. The darkness was not an absence, it was a profound presence. And I realized the unlit candle was not a symbol of a light to come. It was a reminder that the true light is not the small, flickering flame that pushes back the dark. The true light is the awareness that perceives both the flame and the dark. It is the knowing itself, which is never extinguished. Fear is like that, a temporary darkening. You spend so much energy trying to light the candle of security, of certainty, to push the dark away. But the Buddha's final, most subtle teaching points you to the knower, not the known. To the awareness that is prior to both fear and fearlessness. In the deepest dark of fear, you can forget the candle and remember the awareness that is knowing the dark. That awareness is your original nature, peaceful, clear, and unconditioned. It is the unlit candle that is never blown out. So, as we end our long walk together, I offer you no final secret, no magical incantation. I offer you a simple encouragement: trust your own capacity to meet what arises. You have always had this capacity. You have met every fear, every joy, every moment of your life with the same aware presence. Sometimes you have forgotten, and identified with the storm. That is okay. The path is one of gentle remembrance, not of perfect performance. When fear comes, as it will, meet it not as an enemy at the gate, but as a misguided guest. Greet it with mindfulness: ah, you are here. Investigate it with curiosity, not condemnation. Feel its texture in your body. See the thoughts it spins as passing stories. Hold it with the compassion you would offer a frightened child. Have the patience to let it have its say without letting it run the house. Remember its impermanent nature. And rest, whenever you can, in the equanimous ground of being that you are. This is the path walked in the Buddha's footsteps. It is not a path out of life, but a path fully into it. Into its beauty and its terror, its joy and its ache, with a heart that is finally open, resilient, and free. Thank you for sharing this time in contemplation at Monk's Temple. May the peace of your own true nature be a constant, gentle presence in your life. May you walk in the world with a calm heart and clear eyes. And may you remember, always, that you are the sky, not the weather. Be well. Be at peace. Good night.